Snowflake is a fantastic data warehouse thanks to its flexible and cloud-agnostic architecture, but it's not ideal for real-time applications. If you're going to build a real-time app on top of Snowflake without breaking the bank, you're going to need a cost-effective speed layer to publish low-latency APIs on top of your Snowflake data. That is what Tinybird is for. In this screencast, I'll show you how to sync Snowflake data into Tinybird using the Tinybird Snowflake Connector so you can query it with SQL and publish low-latency, high-concurrency APIs to power your application development. Let's rock and roll. Okay, so syncing a Snowflake table to Tinybird is just like creating any other data source. You click that little plus icon and find Snowflake, and then you click it. And next, you're going to need to give Tinybird access to Snowflake by entering your Snowflake details. That includes your username, your password, and your Snowflake account identifier. To find that identifier, go to the Snowflake app, and in the bottom left corner, you'll find a button to copy your account identifier, which you can then paste into Tinybird. And then you're going to need to select an existing role that's been granted to the user you just authorized and choose the warehouse with the data that you'd like to ingest. After that, you'll need to set up a storage integration within Snowflake to allow Tinybird to store your Snowflake data externally. To do that, copy the generated SQL snippet, create an SQL worksheet in Snowflake, paste the snippet, and then run the worksheet. You should be notified that the statement was executed successfully. Then, give your connection a descriptive name and click Next. You'll see the Snowflake databases, schemas, and tables that you have access to in a clickable tree, and you can go ahead and select the table you want to import and click Next. Now you'll define how often you want to sync your Snowflake data into Tinybird. You can do a one-off ingestion, or you can select a time interval, or you can even customize it with a cron expression. You can also decide if you want the first ingestion to happen immediately when the data source is created, or at the first scheduled execution based on the interval you set in the previous step. And you can also select your import strategy here. Replace data will sync the data source to match your Snowflake table by replacing all rows with the current data in the Snowflake table. In contrast, append data will incrementally ingest new rows that have been added to your Snowflake table since the last sync. So go ahead and click Next again, and you'll see a preview of the data. Now here's where you can define your data source details in Tinybird. So go ahead and give it a name and a description, and you can choose which columns and which data types you want, and then click Create Data Source. And that's really all there is to it. You'll see the data source being provisioned, and if you set the sync to start on creation, you'll see that it is actively syncing. Note that after a sync completes, you can always sync on demand by coming up here and clicking Sync Now. You'll also see this sync timeline up here with the last 50 sync jobs, so you can monitor for failed jobs. If you want to pause the schedule, you can click Pause Sync and resume it whenever you're ready. Of course, you can run a similar workflow using the Tinybird CLI. To do that, I recommend you check out the documentation, which is linked in the description below. Thanks. Happy syncing.